everybody. Here we are. Thank you for joining us again. We are at the end of Season 4 of Fear the Walking Dead, Episode 16, I Lose Myself. I can appreciate that comment a little bit more. AKA, I've also decided to rename this show Morgan and Pals.
Yeah,
and speaking
the merry band of wasteland travelers.
There it is. And speaking of which, there is my pal every week doing Walking Dead reviews with me. There is Jason.
Heyo, welcome to the show.
You can, if you pay attention enough to the show, you can tell pre-college and post-college Jason. There is a distinct difference.
It really is.
Here it is. This is the end. Crazy season. We're going to talk about the season as a whole after we talk about this episode. First, the episode, though, the season finale, the big enchilada. I promise I won't say that again. Jason, your feelings on this season finale?
Surprisingly upbeat and a little undermining of the whole feeling that the entire season has been building to.
Okay, all right. Well, the upbeat's obvious if you saw it, but how is it undermining?
I don't know. Like we've been building up sort of this conflict, like these deep sort of relationships between these characters. The show's obviously trying to flesh out Morgan and Pals, as you so affectionately call them.
Morgan and Pals.
But now it's to the point where, they're laughing off and drinking about getting nearly poisoned to death, they're doing things that would, defy logic in some situations,
Let me ask you something real quick, because you work in the medical field. Was drinking beer a acceptable in any form realistic antidote to antifreeze?
Now, I'm not super aware of how antifreeze works as a poison. Most of the time, in the case of specific poisonings like that, there is a national poison hotline that we get a hold of, but I can't think of anything in beer that would really act as some sort of poison alteration. What might have worked is, depending on how fast the antifreeze works, they could have tried and puked it out. Depends on how fast it diffuses into your system. I think how antifreeze kills you, though, is it's a long-term poison. It's not like cyanide or something that works quickly. Antifreeze is sort of a long-term poison, because you hear about people killing each other with antifreeze because it tastes sweet, so it goes unnoticed in a lot of stuff, but it builds up in your kidneys. And I'm pulling from memory here, but I believe that's how it is it builds up in your kidneys and eventually causes renal failure, which is not a fast way to kill someone at all. If you're going to poison somebody's water supply, there's a lot of things around she could have used to be a lot more efficient.
Yeah. So we'll get to all of that in a second here. Let's start from the beginning. I actually initially was very excited for the episode that we got. We had the first couple minutes, and there's Al, and Al's running. She's running away from the walkers. We're in the city. She's running through alleys, dealing with wreckage, dealing with walkers. And she gets trapped, and then she goes through the gate. She ties the gate. She gets into a car garage, and she finds, luck would has it, she comes across a police car, and then for Al specifically, even more luck would has it, she comes across a news van. And she's geared up. She's got everything she could ever want. She's ready to go. I mean, this is great.
Yeah.
This it's like we're in the city, we're with Al, she's got a shotgun, she's got a camera, she's a badass, she's ready to go, and then, she goes back to the hospital to see what she can find out about her friends, the Pals, see what happened to Morgan and Pals, and Magical Martha shows up out of nowhere again with her magical walker, and it's... Where did she come from? She just walked past that area.
Yeah, for a bad guy, she hasn't really done a ton of damage over the course of the series. She's killed off one guy, failed in her poisoning attempt, and she didn't even finish the job on Al.
Well, no, I don't think she intended to kill Al. But let me rephrase, because she didn't intend to kill Al at that point. She obviously intended to kill Al at some other points. But which I guess now that I'm saying that out loud doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense. But Jesus, and again, you actually got a shot of Jim from the back, Walker Jim from the back, and that freaking what is that animal stick she's got there that the vets use, that pet capturers use. That thing is not even getting tugged on. Did you see that?
No. Not even a little bit.
Not even. And why is he? Oh, it's like, why is he quiet? Why is he not trying to eat her?
Yeah.
It's more of that, and even
if they had gone through the small thing of like throwing a couple of Walker guts on her or something.
Right. I was thinking about that
sense.
because we can't really tell, and you actually do get to see her in camera, and she's filthy. But they never established the fact that she covers herself in Walker guts. And if they would at least establish something like that, then it would be fine. In fact, it would make a lot more sense. And then it's even using lore that they've set up in this world for several years now.
Yeah.
But they can't be fucked with it. So, and it just bothers me. And I'm glad I don't have to see it again. And it was just dumb. And then, it just, the whole show goes exactly the way you kind of expected it would. Which was sad because it starts out awesome. And the only thing that I was really surprised about was that she hadn't done something sinister to Al. Especially when they're looking at her all freaky, like, well, she kind of made you a carrier pigeon. She made you give this message, and it's like, she's going to look down like she's missing a foot. Or something.
Or like, she's got a bomb strapped to her or something.
Something, yeah, because, this chick is everything. She's practically a Mary Sue villain. She can drive trucks, she can control walkers with ease, she can survive next to a highway for 2 years when she couldn't even save, the whole thing. So, you get Morgan, I gotta go, I gotta save her, I gotta try, blah, blah, blah. It just, yeah, it really plays out kind of exactly how you thought it would. The antifreeze thing was interesting. It was fairly compelling with that storyline to the point where I'm like, are they gonna kill everybody off? Just because how awesome would that be if they did it?
That would have been a great series ender.
I would have gave them all the props in the world because they fucked the whole thing up going into this season. Just do it again, and then the next season starts out with Crazy Morgan clearing in Mississippi. He shows up. The ending of the episode is he shows up and they're all walkers just walking around in that fucking gas station.
Yep.
And he starts clearing. And so, you start with a whole new group of people at the beginning of season 5, and he's Morgan clearing. He's hiding up somewhere. He's got a whole freaking armory like he does. He's right back where he was. That would have been interesting.
Yeah, that would have been a great starting point.
I think that would have been, but they won't, they wouldn't do that. They did that for the first half of this season because they had to make it Morgan and Pals, and it's not Morgan and Pals with Madison around.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, that's true.
Jeez. You know what? And I will agree with you. It was an uplifting season finale, and I'm gonna check it out. We're not sure if we're gonna review it. We talked about that before the show. This overall, and we'll get into the season as a whole here in a minute. This overall was pretty disappointing. I'm definitely going to check it out. I think there's an interesting scenario here where they've left things, and it was an uplifting ending. I mentioned to you that I thought this would have been a spectacular season final, the way they left it. And you can play in your mind all the stories you want about what happens with Morgan and Pals after the show has ended. In such a fashion and on an uplifting note. There's something to be said for that, and then looking at The Walking Dead where a lot of people are like, take this thing out in the back and shoot it already. which I don't necessarily agree with, but it's. What are some of the highlights for you from this week's episode before we get to the season?
Some of the highlights from this episode, probably just like the beginning with Al. I really liked that. It was fun to see the whole group together for at the very end. It was a little weird seeing an uplifting ending in The Walking Dead,
especially this season for Fear.
Yeah,
God.
It's like, and you remember that it hasn't been all that long since some of these people, Alicia in particular, just lost her entire family.
Yeah.
And these characters are like flipping. Al, who has taken a hard line of I don't intervene, I'm here as an observer, suddenly turns around at the end and she's like, yeah, let me use my tapes to help you find people. And I'm like, well, that takes all of that interesting character you've just established as a sort of non-participant and shove that out the window.
Yeah, she's got layers.
I
really like Al. She's my new favorite character, but yeah. It was way too happily ever after for The Walking Dead. I mean,
this isn't a show that does happy endings.
No, the closest we ever got to something like this was that fake ending at the end of season 7. That fake ending they showed when they're all sitting together at the picnic table, like right after they killed Abraham and Glenn. It's like, yeah, you'll never see this ever. But they at least established that it was fake as shit. I'm glad Martha's done. That's a positive. That is the worst. I think the worst character and definitely the worst villain this either series has had.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
God,
dude, I think the governor's left Pinky had more personality and evil to it than this entire character.
The governor was great. Great.
Yeah.
You guys who don't know the governor from the comics would lose your shit over the governor from the comics. But this was the TV show had a really good version too, a really different but appropriate take on the governor. He was a lot of fun, especially because you got to see his deconstruction into the villain that we start out with in the comics. The way he ends is the way he starts when we get introduced to him in the comics. It was an interesting take on him. Yeah. It just wasn't very good. They did a decent job of building up the story, I guess. But I can't watch this episode without looking at it through the lens of the season as a whole. Because I think we've been talking about this, is that the whole season really depends on this. And did they fail the way that I thought they were? No. But
at best it was a lukewarm ending. It was a meh ending.
Yeah.
So he has like, all right, the season didn't keel over and die. It's still limping along.
Really, it is. And they're talking about maybe another spin-off. There's, I guess, as far as shows on TV go, as a whole, they're still doing really well. But In Fear has never done great ratings in comparison to the main show. The main show was once the biggest freaking thing on TV for years. Still doing very well, but in comparison to where it used to be, the ratings are very low in comparison to its prior self. It's just like I said, I'm going to tune in. We're not guaranteeing that we're going to be reviewing season 5, though. This was rough. I mean, when I think back to it, and I understand that you kind of have to look at the show, and what we got was what we got. But I don't think it's unfair to also look at what could have been, what was set up, where we were at the end of season 3. And I understand you have to accept the fact that that's just not the direction they went in. But at the same time, they really butchered the shit out of this.
Oh, yeah.
They really did. I like June, and I like John, and I like Al. Sarah.
But I liked Madison more.
Yeah. Yeah, and Nick.
Yeah.
And again, I don't.
Nick, I sort of get because the actor, he put his foot down. He's like, I'm done with this. Okay, you have to kill him off. But Madison wasn't.
No, she was excited. She was so excited for the show. She always has been. Nick, I don't know because I've seen so many changes now, and I have to wonder how much of this was because he wanted to be done with the show because he was sick of, well, here's another creative team and I really don't like this direction and I really don't like what you're doing, so I'm done.
Yeah.
So had they not gone in the direction that they did, would he have stuck around? And for Morgan being the guy that they bring in for the crossover and not Abraham, that's really, I think that's a big disappointment. And it's not because I don't like Morgan. It's not because I don't like Lenny James. I do, but I think that would have been a much better way, especially because everyone wanted Abraham back.
Yeah.
They knew it wouldn't last, and they knew he wouldn't stick around. And he's got his own story he's got to do, but they could have stuck Abraham in there for like 6-7 episodes and just done a really tight story on some scenario that they have to deal with, some cliffhanger in between the first half and second half of the season, and then give him a reason to have to scoot off. And it would have been great. And I don't, but we didn't get it. And Morgan, Lenny James is fine. And Morgan's fine. I do not like the huge emphasis of Morgan. I kind of knew that him coming over to Fear was going to mean he was going to be the new main guy. And I thought he'd at least share it with Madison and Nick initially. But, once they were gone, it's like, yeah, this is, it's Morgan and pals. And that's fine, but, again, I think about what could have been, what should have been, especially after coming off such a good third season. It upsets me.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Okay. Let's rate the episode. Let's see. 1 out of 5 antifreeze contaminated bottles of water.
2.5.
You just going with the 2.5? I'm going to go with the 2. The ending, the beginning and the end saves it. The rest of it was junk.
Yeah.
But the beginning and the end was pretty good.
Like I said, it limped along.
It did. It really did. All right, so let's. It would have been a 2.5 or a 3 had it not had to see so much Martha shit.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so I've already talked a lot about the season. Jason, why don't you tell me, because I've expounded a bit on the season as a whole. Why don't you tell me your feelings about the season that we had and where you're sitting with it and what you liked the most, what you didn't like?
I want to like the season. I really do. We've seen a lot of, well, not a lot, but we've seen some very good episodes this season. We've had some very solid things, and the creative team took some very inspired directions. They did new things with the show, and obviously that's the kind of thing we want to encourage, because just cycling the same thing through again isn't going to get us anywhere. But unfortunately, some of those creative decisions didn't really pan out. They didn't work as well, or it ended up feeling like it undercut other parts of what the show was trying to come across. Overall, it feels like a lot of wasted potential. Coming off of such a good season, I had the highest hopes for season 4, and then after the death of Nick and Madison, I was cautiously optimistic because with a hole to fill, Morgan could have a lot of character growth. He could sort of exemplify the best parts of what we've seen his character do. And instead it felt like everybody just suddenly started following Morgan because he's got protagonist syndrome, Whereas, like, in the flagship show, we get to see Rick become a leader. He's already got the authority of a police officer, and then he naturally brings that in. But Morgan was just a guy. And part of what makes Morgan so interesting as a character is the fact that he was just a guy who a lot of shit happened to, a guy who's got a hell of a lot of trauma, but at the end of the day, he wasn't anybody special. He's got no unique training other than what he's received through the show, you know. He doesn't have those natural leadership qualities that Rick does, and I had hoped that we would see him grow into that, but instead everybody's like, oh, Morgan's a good guy, let's just all follow Morgan. You know, we're going to stick around in a clearly dangerous situation because we got to save Morgan.
No, I agree. Oh, what else did you have before I finish up with my thoughts on the season?
No. I keep coming back to the sort of undercut potential. You know, it was there was a lot of good setup, and we had some good episodes from that premise. You know, the concept of weather playing a part in how the weather would interact with the zombies. That was a very promising idea, and then we got a couple of good scenes out of it, and then it was never touched upon again. You know. The storm, but it didn't, and the repercussions weren't really for the season. So I guess that's pretty much where I end up on it. You know, a lot of potential that just fell flat.
Okay, I don't know if that came through or not, but we had a little bit of an audio issue from your end there, but I'm not quite sure how well that's going to come through until I actually get to check out the final cut of the audio there. But we caught everything that you were saying. I agree, and maybe not for all the same reasons, but this was a season of wasted opportunity and wasted potential. I mean, coming into what we had at the end of season 3, the potential, the storylines going to Texas, and the crossover being Abraham instead of Morgan, sticking with the main story of Fear the Walking Dead, which is to deal with the initial days and months of the zombie apocalypse and what happens with that. Let's say they continue the storyline with Nick, them finding Nick in some horrible situation that we never did get to see, and him having to deal with some PTSD from that. Putting the group back together, potentially seeing Daniel, and I've talked about the storyline I thought could have happened with Daniel. I thought there was some huge potential there, but dealing with the cartel, getting to Texas, and instead of seeing the end of the Coliseum, seeing the beginning of the Coliseum, and them interjecting these characters, I think it could have been in better ways instead of Morgan having Abraham, but interjecting June and Al and John in different ways. I don't care about Sarah and her brother, with the wheelchair guy. I always forget his name. His real name's Chill. I remember that, but get them out of here. They're I like Mo Collins, but as far as their characters go, I can't stand them. And yeah, sure, bring Jim in, kill him off, whatever, just like he did. But there was a lot of wasted opportunity here, and a lot of potential that was wasted. The main arcs that we got were shit. We don't know the truth behind why the actor for Nick wanted to leave. Was it because just sick of just all the creative differences probably changing, or just the new direction of the show? I won't lay that one on the creators for them. I don't know if I can or not. But killing off Madison, instead of having the girth of a stronger set of actors, killing her off for why? It didn't make any sense to me. We didn't get. We didn't. I can't even say we really even got a summary of what had happened in about a year and a half plus time to these people. We only got to see an end result of it. They could have spent an episode doing that, I think. Something that could have tied that a little bit better. And then the storyline with the whole truck thing was an interesting plot device, but then was wasted.
Yeah. And
the whole Martha thing was horrible. Like you said, the thing with the storm, that was cool. We got some good episodes out of there. We got some good episodes though. The one with John and June early on at his cabin was really good. The one with Alicia and Charlie. That was good. Yeah, that was a good one as well. There were a couple others in there as well, but generally speaking, I think I think given the direction they decided to go in, I think we've got the best that we could have gotten from that. That being said, the direction that things were leading into at the beginning, from the end of the season, and what we could have gotten, it's very, very disappointing.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah. So, we already said we're not guaranteeing that we're going to review season 5, but we are going to review the season as a whole. So 1 out of 5 missed opportunities. Let's say that 1 out of 5 missed opportunities. What would you give it, Jason?
2 out of 5 missed opportunities.
1.5 here for me. I really think that they really screwed up here. I think, and I'm not even going to put them close to half. You're definitely on the lower end for me. And for God's sakes, stop the black and white shit. Stop it. What do you say, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely. Get that out of here.
It's that's enough. It made sense in the first half. It really, with what you were doing. This is then. This is now. This is then. This is now. Can you tell the difference? You don't need that kind of cueing, but sure. But good God, just stop. That's enough. Okay, so what do you guys think of Morgan and Pals? Comment below. What do you think of the season finale? What do you think of the direction of the show, the season? What are you hoping for next season? Jason, what are you hoping to see next season?
Zombies. Lots of zombies.
He's aiming low. I'm
pretty much anything but a repeat of this season.
He's aiming. At least your expectations are for a zombie show. I want some zombies. You will get that, and you will probably get damn good zombies.
Yep.
So,
yeah. I after this season, I need to keep my expectations low.
I think you do. Oh, I really want them to name it Morgan and Pals, though. I think that'd be the best.
Oh, God.
They never will.
I think that's the point where I give up on the show. You know, it's like, all right, I'm done with beer.
But let us...
No more.
Let us... are you... No, if they actually came up on the graphic, or if somebody actually said it, like somebody they meet actually says that to them, I will geek out. If they refer to the group as Morgan and Pals, I'll freak out about it. Let us know what you guys think. Comment below. If you liked our review for the season and for the episode, please like and subscribe. Let us know how you feel about how we're doing. But I think that's going to do it for us for now. Jason, any last words for the season finale? Potentially the last of Fear.
Yeah. Let's see. Don't drink the water.
Don't drink the water. All right.
Yeah.
That
was good in a non-zombie apocalypse as it is in a zombie apocalypse. You know, if you find water on the side of the road, folks, probably best just to pass it up.
All right. Jason's final comments. A good analogy for the season, ripe with potential, but it just didn't deliver well in the end. All right. Nothing.
No. That's all I got of me.
Okay. All right, that's going to do it for us. So we will be back next week, though, for The Walking Dead Season 9. We are going to at least cover Rick Grimes' last episodes. We will see what's going on from there. Because if Season 9 is like this season of Fear, we're probably going to be done for review. So hopefully not. All right. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, there anything we go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but it'd be great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and Maybe not mine. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.